Matt Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store, Our Kings Competitions. We're here, Maxi Hughes, WBC Silver Champion and mandatory for the European?
Mandatory for European, yeah. We knew about this before the Archie Sharp fight, and we did try to get it on the line, because there's me and kid called Laid Dowry, French kid, who was being ordered for a title. But this happened while I were in training for Sharp. The EBU knew this, but we tried to reach a deal with the French kid and his manager to step aside, and get the European on the line as well as the silver title. But they said they'd step aside, but they wanted a silly amount of money. So that's what happened with that. So, it's an option. It's penciled in. We've got sort of a contract in place. But I'm just training and seeing what happens. So, a European belt is something I've always wanted.
I was going
to have that belt.
I was going to say, obviously, I think we all remember the night where you picked up all the other belts along the way, and you've got that sort of missing piece to the puzzle. Is that like a thing where you go, you know what, even if it weren't the name or the opponent, the carrot at the end of it would be enough?
Yeah, like before I retire, I'd love to say, yeah, I got the British, Commonwealth and European. At the minute I've just got British. So that'd be nice, adding that European to that collection. And as well, winning it, like with Dalton did, he won the silver, won the vacant European, boom, he was mandatory. So, it's a path to go down.
And you got the hat, got the T-shirt.
Got the hat, got the T-shirt, yeah. Winning, aren't we?
I tell you what, on the night when I saw you getting it handed to you, I remembered the interview we did in the changing room where you were saying, I've always wanted the sort of the things that come with it. You see everyone, the green and gold hat, the T-shirt. What was that sort of feeling like? We touched on it a little bit, but when you have your day at home the day after and you're sitting around going, new belt, new T-shirt, you take it in a bit more. Do you get the time to enjoy it?
Yeah. It's I don't wear it too much. Currently in a box in my spare bedroom now, but I love to wear it. It's decent hat and that as well. But I'm thinking, it's in a special box, isn't it? So whether we get it framed or somehow presented, I'm going to be starting work on my garage and house soon this year. So garage is going to be a full gym with an upstairs, maybe an annex, but that's where I've got all my whole life career, boxing, amateur and pro, just in boxes, mainly at loft in garage, which nobody sees. So I want to get it done, get it out, and show it.
Well, look, I don't know if your missus will approve, but media wall, glass, belts in.
Sure I have a media wall. Fucking no chance.
Have you tried?
Yeah, I've mentioned it. It says, no chance not having a media wall.
Could you not come to a compromise, like some family heirlooms, family pictures, then on the other side, belt.
She'll say, if you build that garage and renovate all garage, do what you want. She has said there's some things we're going to put up, because, it is my life, and career. Yeah. So I'm just going to start looking at, the belts I've got is a glass cabinet, so they can be on display rather than in the cases that they come in So yeah. I can see them, and kids get to see it. Kids like playing with belts and that, which is nice. It's like, this is what I worked hard for.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, we'll definitely have some and get them on show.
Before we talk about obviously the other names in the division for you, did you manage to watch former foe, former rival in terms of George Kambosos and Hitchins? I think you said what was going to happen happened. Yeah. But any surprises? It was a good performance from Hitchins.
Yeah, he did what he needed to do, but it probably he'll be laughing now, because I think that was Hitchins' biggest payday and his easiest fight, because in the end he threw a couple of body shots which folded George in half, but he basically just jabbed his head off. He must have thought, this is easy money. George is there being all thinking he's elusive, but then Hitchins just bang. So easy for him. But yeah, George, he is what he is. All he talks about is money. It's like he's overcompensating. It's maybe an insecurity. I've earned this, I've earned that, I've got loads of money. Maybe he's just overcompensating. He ain't got as much as he thinks he has. So he has to try and tell everyone.
Do you think he's changed since obviously he had the big win? Obviously you've experienced him firsthand. Have you seen a change in him? I know you've alluded to it there, but I think it's for sure he's understood the game. Obviously he sells a fight, yourself, as much as there's a thing. Yeah. He sold the fight with Hitchins quite well.
We sold it by just talking about money and diamonds and material things. It's, I do think I really did respect George when he beat Tio, and I were always singing his praises because he had the opportunity, Champions Back Garden, and he won. And I took my hat off to him. But then the Haney fights, he got the money, and he can see his change. He's not that humble guy anymore. He is a clear example of money can't buy class, and money's changed him. So yeah, it's not nice to hear about. You know what I mean? When boxing's a working class sport, and he's like, I'm happy for every boxer who makes that life changing money. Because boxing is a working class sport. And even though there's some rivals, I'm happy. Like Josh Padley, maybe a potential rival, but I'm happy for him that he got that opportunity and made money, because boxing is so hard and a brutal business. So when fighters can make money, I'm happy. But George is just an arsehole, isn't he? Really, that's as clear as that. That's the only real way to put it. Well, that's on him. If that makes him sleep at night, fine. But he doesn't realise, not a lot of people like him.
Is the scope for that fight now, or is it a case of, look, as much as I would, onwards and upwards from here? Because yourself, if you've got a good ranking, you've a WBC silver, if you've got the European as well, like we've seen it in the past, you mentioned off camera, a Dalton Smith, or maybe it was on camera, and look, he's now in line to fight Puello. We know Shakur and Zepeda are having that fight, obviously another former opponent of yours. That's a really interesting fight as well. But is that your future now? Do you look at that sort of division now instead of looking back almost?
Yeah, I'm concentrating on myself, and now obviously in a good position with where I am. I'm heading towards that world title fight. So if it was put to me, do you want to fight George again? This is, what purse you're earning, big enough fight. Yeah, of course I'll take that fight. I'd love to punch him again. But if it done, fine. I can move on and just focus on myself. Like I don't know if he is going to continue now. I don't know what he's going to do, because since winning the belts, he's had a lot of losses. Although it's a win against me, you ask anyone, including Stevie Wonder, they'll all tell you that I should have won that fight. He had that life and death with that kid who stepped in at last minute notice, forget his name. So the wins he's got in his last couple are not impressive. Obviously, nobody counts his win against me, an actual win. He had to turn comments off, didn't he? So what has he done? He says he's got this much money, so maybe he'll retire. I don't know. But if it's put to me and it's a big enough fight, yeah. But at minute, I've got myself in a good position. I've got my eye on the likes of Shakur, Zepeda, the world champions. That's the fights I want.
Well, look, if you do get them fights, it's a big card, and obviously it's an earner again for yourself. How do you see that fight going? I think we may have touched on it already, but you know how Zepeda fights. Volume puncher. I know you don't make excuses for yourself, but it couldn't have been worse circumstances for you to fight a guy like that with what happened that week. But you know how he fights. So him versus Shakur, what are you expecting?
I think, especially early doors, I think Zepeda fights the way he fights all the time, no matter the opponent. He will come and give it you. That's a given. It's whether Shakur can keep him off for long enough. can he get his feet in close enough? And there's also, obviously, Shakur's got bad hands. And does he hit hard enough, you know, will he catch Zepeda clean? And Zepeda might think, I'll take a few of them to get inside and land my own. So I am slightly edging Shakur, sorry about that, for his skills and keeping away. Like we saw against Oscar Valdez at super featherweight. Valdez tried to put it on him, but he was too clever with his feet.
Ended up punching holes in Valdez as well, I think, if you remember later on in the fight.
Being up at lightweight, don't know if he'll be able to do that against Zepeda. I'm slightly edging, but very interesting fight. And as a fan, I don't watch much boxing nowadays, and it takes a special fight like that for me to go, I'm going to sit down and watch this. So that is a fight I'm 100% going to be watching. Slightly edging Shakur to box and move and beat him on points. But yeah, I'm just so interested because after that fight, I was like, he beats everyone in division, does Zepeda. Trying to comfort myself.
I was going to say, does it make you feel better if Zepeda does his job?
Absolutely, yeah. I said after the fight, I hope he goes and wins everything and cleans up because then it just don't look that bad on me. But, you know, he's a nice guy, Zepeda, very respectful. His mum and dad came and see me after the fight. Very respectful people. I'd love to have another chance at him.
Yeah.
You know, if Zepeda goes and pulls it off, you know, obviously I'd probably have to travel to Mexico, but I've always wanted to go. I'll take kids, we'll have a little holiday there after.
Have gloves, we'll travel.
Yeah, have gloves, we'll travel, yeah.
Well, look, always good catching up with you. Good to see you on such a high still, and with such a positive end to the year. Looks like it's going to be in store. And look, if there's any further news, we'll catch up and we'll do another little bit. So appreciate it. Bud.
Cheers, pal.